Right now, you are looking at my current collection of swords. And by the end of this video, I will have collected every single sword in Blox Fruits. But that's not where I'm stopping. There are 3 challenges that I will face for each sword. The collection of the sword itself, unlocking every ability on each sword, and upgrading every sword at the blacksmith. With that being said, let's get started. The first sword is the katana, which I've already bought for a small loan of $1,000 from the sword dealer. I've also already unlocked all the abilities and upgraded it at the blacksmith with leather and angel wings. Next up is the cutlass, and like the katana, it can be bought for $1,000 from the same guy. But I have yet to upgrade it, so let's get that done. And with only 2 measly mastery, I swing this thing around a little bit until I reach 20 mastery. Here at the Sword Dealer of the West, I can pick up the dual katana for 12,000 bucks. I grind mastery up using the NPCs of this island, then with some angel wings and leather, it can be upgraded. On this same island, the iron mace can be purchased for 25,000, and once the mastery has reached 30, I just need to upgrade it. Moving on to the next sword, it's the shark saw. I already got it, but by defeating the saw boss, there's a 10% chance of it dropping. Also, there's a 100% chance of me getting every ability and upgrading it with some leather. Heading on over to the frozen village, I picked myself up the triple katana for 60,000, and if you didn't know, it has one more sword than the dual katana. After leveling its mastery to 60, I realized I don't have enough scrap metal to upgrade it. Little did I know, at this point, here marks the beginning of me developing a serious hatred for scrap metal. Now you might be asking, Brad, what is so bad about a little bit of metal? My answer to that question you also want the answer to consists of 2 words. Just wait. But let's just upgrade these katanas and move on. Back at the frozen village, I got this pipe for 100,000. But look, it's that thing again. It's back. A bit of grinding later, I can now upgrade the pipe. Warden Sword is another boss drop that has a 5 to 10% chance to drop from the Chief Warden. With all its abilities already unlocked, all I need to do is upgrade it with some magma ore and some leather. Although I need to farm some more magma ore at Magma Village. But I now have enough, so let's go ahead and upgrade it. Dual-headed blade is next. I actually haven't purchased it yet, so let's go ahead and drop 400,000 on this guy's dome. Oh look! I need 10 scrap metal. I don't have any. Okay, now I do. Now it's Soul Cane time. It can be scooped up from the living skeleton for a big ol' 750,000 bucks. To upgrade it though, I need to take a trip to the second sea to get some radioactive material. And until now, I didn't even know that this stuff existed. After killing these dumb scientists for what felt like hours, I realized why I didn't know why. Because the drop rate is like whatever this number is. Million, billion, decillion, who the heck knows. Next up, we got the Bacento, the second sword that can be bought from the Master Sword Dealer, and of course, it needs scrap metal to upgrade it. With all the materials collected, I go ahead and upgrade it, but I'm not done with this sword yet. This is one of the few special swords that actually have a second version of themselves. In order to get said version, I need to defeat Greybeard, who spawns here once every 6 hours. So basically, I just hopped in a private server and waited until he spawned. After defeating him, the abilities changed a little bit. It's time now for another boss drop. I head over to Underwater City to get the trident that drops from Fishman Lord. This has a 10% chance to drop, but luckily I got it on my first try. To upgrade the trident, I actually need 20 scrap metal. Everything is fine. Oh yeah, and 12 magma ore. Pole is up next. I've already gotten it from defeating Thunder God. Upgrading it takes radioactive material and scrap metal. Isn't that lovely? And some angel wings. I got it done though. Now, the final sword obtainable in the first sea, the Saber. This is another sword that I've already obtained, but it's a very unique sword as it requires beating a puzzle to get it. I do have a clip from a long time ago of obtaining this though, so let's go ahead and check out what I did. First part of this puzzle is to hit these 5 buttons, grab this torch, this cup, water this old man, one-shot this NPC, receive a key from the old man's son, then after opening the secret door and defeating the Saber expert, I get the sword. But I'm not done yet. Much like Bacento, Saber has a second version of itself. I unfortunately don't have a clip of this though, but it's obtained by killing another player when both of you have 1 million bounty or more. But I do have a clip of me getting its mastery and upgrading it. And with that, I now move on to the swords only obtainable in the second sea. Starting off is a relatively difficult sword to obtain. It goes by the name Scythe. To get this, I must buy it from the legendary sword dealer for 2 million. But the problem that arises is that he only spawns once every 4 to 5 hours. And he despawns after 15 minutes. But after waiting that amount of time, I spoke with the manager and he let me know that he spawned. I rushed to check all 6 of the locations that he could potentially spawn. Fortunately, I ended up finding him in time and got the sword for myself. 300 mastery later, and I'm ready to upgrade it. Obtaining Wando is done in the exact same process as Sati. 4 hours after having obtained the previous sword, Wando was mine. Mastery is the same, and materials are also the same. Next up is Shisui. Again, obtainment is the same process as Sati and Wando, but I had quite a few problems. I haven't mentioned that when talking to the sword dealer, he has a chance of selling swords that I've already purchased. Obviously, I don't need those.
Well, duh.
But that's not where my struggles end though. I also forgot to mention that when waiting those 4 hours previously discussed, you have to be in a server for all of those hours. Only then will the legendary sword dealer spawn. Now, when I disconnected multiple times while waiting, it's, to say the least, kind of frustrating. But eventually, I made it through all of those setbacks and got my hands on Shisui, its mastery, and its upgraded version. With Sati, Wando, and Shisui all obtained, I am now capable of heading over to the highest leaf in the green zone and purchasing the true triple katana. And I must admit, it does feel good that this is just an easy purchase in contrast to what I went through with Shisui. But the abilities have been unlocked and upgrades have been, well, upgraded. Longsword time. Obtainment was easy. I got it on the first try from defeating the diamond boss. Abilities in blacksmithery were also easy, apart from the radioactive material part. Next is another boss drop from Vegeta. I didn't quite get as lucky with the odds of the drop, but I eventually got it. And with a bit of meteorite I also got from fighting Vegeta, and scrap metal from my best friends over at Pirate Village, I upgraded it and moved on to the next sword named Jite. I think that's how you say it. And it just so happens I got it on the first takedown of the Smoke Admiral. It does require vampire fangs, which I got from the vampires who reside in the graveyard, and of course, scrap metal. Now for Coco, I guess you could call it a boss drop, but it's done in a unique way. The obtainment is done by buying a microchip from this NPC here for 1,000 fragments, then starting an order raid and hoping for a 10% drop odds to be in your favor. And in this clip, they were in my favor. Plus I got it upgraded. Moving on to the Midnight Blade that's purchased from this guy, but instead of money, it requires 100 ectoplasm. The upgrading also requires ectoplasm. Can't forget about the mastery either. Next on the list is Rengoku, which needs a key that drops from the Awakened Ice Admiral boss. Then I go and open this little chest, then grab all the materials needed before yet another trip to the blacksmith. It feels like I'm single-handedly keeping this guy in business. That brings us to the next sword, a better version of the pole that I got earlier. It's not a simple task though. In order to acquire it, I need to first purchase the rumble fruit, then I need to fully awaken this fruit by sitting through 5 whole rumble raids. Thought I was done? Nope. I reset my stats to max out my Blox fruit stat and get the rumble fruit mastery up to 250. Am I done now? That's another no. I need to complete one more rumble raid with my fully awakened rumble fruit before I get teleported to this small island with a guy that sells me pole v2 for 5,000 fragments. With all that done, I gather the materials and do the thing. Now, it is time to go and get the Dragon Trident from the Tidekeeper boss. This is said to be a 5 to 10% drop chance, but it took me 40 minutes of non-stop server hopping until I finally got the drop. I even got impatient halfway through and bought the ×2 boss drop game pass. But I planned on buying it anyways for an extremely rare sword that I will get later in this video. Getting back on track, I need to go and gather dragon scales from these crop top wearing sword swinging NPCs of the 3rd Sea. With mastery and upgrading done, I am now at a point in which I can move on to the swords that reside in the 3rd Sea. And the first sword of the 3rd Sea that I have my eyes set on is the legendary Yama, which I already made a different video of its obtainment. I do need to upgrade it though. The same can be said about Tushita. Check out this video if you're interested in seeing how I got them. But Tushita also needs an upgrade. That brings us to the butter knife of Blox fruits, the Dark Dagger. The first objective required to obtain this legendary sword is to get my hands on a God's Chalice, which has around a 2% chance of dropping upon defeating an elite pirate. Then, once the chalice has been obtained, I must summon and defeat the level 5,000 boss, Rip Indra, and pray on a 2.5% drop chance that he will drop me the Dark Dagger. Remember when I bought the game pass that doubles my chances of getting drops? Yeah, this is the main reason why. And on the 11th Rip Indra, the Dark Dagger finally dropped from his back pocket. I got it! Oh, I got it! Oh my god, I finally got it. After that grind, I get the mastery and upgrading done. Heading on over to the floating turtle, I steal these twin hooks right out of Captain Elephant's hands, then get that sweet mastery and upgrades. Next up is Canvender. It's real easy, just beat the beautiful pirate until he loses the will to fight, and of course, Mr. Blacksmith. Now, for the Hollow Scythe, this was hands down the most difficult sword to get in all of Blox Fruits. To begin, I must get a lucky spin from the Death King until he gives me a Hollow Essence, which has a 2.5% chance to get. The even bigger issue is that I only get 10 spins every 2 hours. Then, I have to rely on even more low odds as the Scythe only drops from the Soul Reaper boss with a 5% chance. Over the course of 5 grueling days, it took me 410 spins at the Death King, and after 16 Soul Reapers, I finally got what I came for. I got it! Oh, I got it! Oh, I finally got it! Oh my god, dude. Finally! With the elusive Hollow Scythe finally in my possession, I head on over to the blacksmith.
I knew you'd be back. Lay out your arms. Let's get smithing.
And get the job done. With that headache behind me, I move on to the Buddy Sword. It's a nice easy boss drop that I can get from defeating the Cake Queen. It's even easier when I've already gotten it in the past. So all that's left is the upgrades. Moving on to the Spiky Trident, it can actually be dropped from either the Cake Prince or the Dough King. To get this, you need to defeat 500 enemies at the Sea of Treats. Then head on into this portal and hopefully it drops after defeating the boss. I already have it though, so let's head to the blacksmith. Now, for the Cursed Tool Katana, just like Yama and Tushita, I've already made a video on, so I'm gonna skip it. That brings us to the Dark Blade. This is the only sword in Blox Fruits that can be purchased with Robux. So let's go ahead and buy it. It only takes 50 mastery to get all the abilities and just a little bit of farming to get the materials to upgrade it. But I'm not done with this sword just yet. This sword actually has 3 versions of itself. The one I currently have, and the one I can unlock by doing a quest that begins by talking to Robot Mega inside this house, then running around collecting love letters throughout the first sea, and upon returning to Robot Mega, he upgrades my Dark Blade to its 2nd version. Now, the 3rd version requires a bit more. To begin, I must upgrade Human, Shark, Angel, and Rabbit, all to race V3, which consists of a whole bunch of searching for flowers, and each have unique tasks, such as killing 3 bosses in the 2nd sea, killing a sea beast, killing a player that has an angel race, and even collecting 30 chests. But with all those in their 3rd version, I'm now going to need 2 Fists of Darkness, one to summon Darkbeard, and another to unlock the door required to get Darkblade V3. So I went ahead and farmed Sea Beast until I got a Fist of Darkness. Then, my plan was to wait until the server was 4 hours old to get another one from a chest, but of course I disconnected while waiting. No worries, I got another. Then I successfully stayed in a server for the 4 hours and got my 2nd Fist of Darkness. The first one I used to summon Darkbeard, and the 2nd one I used to get the Darkblade's final version. Now, for the final sword in all of Blox Fruits, the triple Dark Blade. There are only a select few people in the world who have obtained this. Those people consist of a handful of admins and some of the biggest Blox Fruits YouTubers. Well, I'm neither of those, so I can't get this. But if you subscribe to the channel, maybe one day I will be able to get the triple Dark Blade. Anyways, that's it. You've made it to the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you want to watch some more Blox Fruits, check out one of these videos.